Hey guys, just giving a quick update on the market. Haven't made a video in 2 weeks. So real quick right off the bat, the SPY is teetering on edge right now. The only thing kind of holding it up at this point is your NVIDIA, is your Google, is your AMD, your Qualcomm, and your Amazon, right? And a couple of energy companies. But if you look at the playing field vastly across the board for the S&P 500, for the Russell 2000 especially, and for the Dow Jones, you see a lot of red, right? And this is, possibly a warning signal to investors. Because if you look at the bond market, it's tanking quite a bit. It's been falling, it's been going on that continuous downwards trend, okay? That it's been on for a number of years now because interest rates have been soaring, right? As interest rates soar, your bond prices fall because your institutional investors sell off the bonds they have to buy the new ones because it's in the best interest of their investors, of their stakeholders. Okay? So, moving forward, what I'm doing this week is I'm keeping an eye on the SPY, okay? And I'm looking for those lower range edge of the expected moves, if it touches that, to signal whether to buy particular positions, okay? And at this point, I want to give you guys an update. If you keep up and you try to follow along and replicate trades in your account based on what I do, again, this is not investment advice, but just me shooting the shit. I've sold off my stakes entirely last week and this week, today and last week, of my holdings in SOXL after that NVIDIA beautiful earnings, my TQQQ play, and I've reshuffled a lot of it into just straight NVIDIA stock. Okay? And I'm holding a series of vertical call spreads and stock on AMD and NVIDIA at this point. And the reason why I sold off half my stake in NVIDIA today is because of the fact that SPY seems to be teetering on edge right now. And moving forward this week and for the next couple of weeks until that next Fed meeting coming up on June 11th, I really suggest that you play a little carefully, okay? Like, is it a good idea to buy NVIDIA right now? Probably, maybe. I mean, they are the number one company on the planet right now in terms of fundamentals, in terms of supplying the chips necessary for a lot of companies out there. For Google, for Microsoft, for all the AI coming out in different companies. They're all resorting to NVIDIA and AMD for their chipsets, pretty much, right? But you can't ignore the fact that NVIDIA is in fact influenced by the S&P 500. So if you have all these companies doing bad because of interest rates rising, you got to be a little careful. So play wisely, right? What I'm doing is I'm DCAing, right? I was buying it over here along this way down and on this way up, held through earnings, it did fantastic, and I'm still holding right now. For the foreseeable future, NVIDIA is probably going to be doing great, right? But you gotta take it with a grain of salt. You gotta be a little careful, because if the market falls, this probably will get affected to some extent. Now, here's some analysis for my tech analysis guys, okay? If you pull up the SPY and you pull it up alongside the NVIDIA, you can trace it, how it performs whenever the SPY retracts, okay? You can compare the two. Let me close my active trader, let me remove all these studies. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull it up apples to apples for the past 5 years. Okay? What you'll see is if you take some time to look at the chart, whenever the SPY retracts, NVIDIA does too, but NVIDIA retracts less. Okay? Meaning that it's resistant to those pullbacks to a larger degree than other stocks. For example, things like Apple, things like Microsoft even. So, I think the wisest way to play it is wait for these pullbacks and buy in. Okay? That's the way I'm doing it. So, if SPY just broke all-time highs last week, that's great. Maybe it's a time to sell a little bit, continue holding, and every time it pulls back, maybe a good time to buy back in. Okay? Just keeping it simple for you guys. Other stocks that I'm keeping an eye on are things like Salesforce, which just reported today, I think. I haven't looked at their earnings yet, how they did. I think they're reporting today or tomorrow. That is another large holding in the Dow Jones, and that could influence it as well. But Dow Jones and Russell 2000, they've been getting kind of wrecked. They've been selling off this past week. Okay, so you want to keep an eye on your fib levels, keep an eye on your trend lines, keep an eye on your moving averages, and just play wisely, play carefully. We also have something big coming up next month. What is it? I think June 11th or June 12th. I forget. It's when you're having the Computex conference taking place in Taiwan, right? You have Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, and Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, speaking over there. They're going to be unveiling products. They're going to be talking about what they project moving forward, the companies are going to be doing in the world, okay? And they're probably going to be talking about the shifting and manufacturing of microchips to the United States. You have $20 billion going towards Intel, making a factory in Ohio. You have other tens of billions of dollars going to other companies as well, like TSM, to go ahead and build out factories in the United States. And that's going to be a big play and the big influence in the market over here and globally. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. Maybe we see some more hype building up for that. Maybe that's what we're seeing right now. But you got to take it with a grain of salt. Play things wisely, pay things carefully. Keep an eye on the SPY, keep an eye on the Dow Jones, and of course the Russell 2000. And nevertheless, your bonds. Because if your bond market's tanking, you can bet that your stock market is as well. Because right now, inflation is the name of the game. Interest rates are the name of the game that are really influencing everything. So, just a thought, just a projection. Could be wrong, but it is a projection. Have a great day, y'all.